Hello and welcome back to Raw 12:51 AM and the Warwick F1 Show with your usual host Will Kingswood and your usual guests as well. This week we will be doing a definitive top 10 races from the last season. A season that, I mean, as I was going through it, there's 13 races that I haven't crossed out that I would say easily could be in the top 10. I mean, I'll come to my guests in turn now. So starting off with my as ever dependable co-host Jack Rowe. How many races were you sort of considering for your top 10?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I did manage to narrow it down to 10 fairly easily. I think there were a lot that were very close. But for me, there were those 10 races that stood out. However, they did stand out by a long shot. So much more than we would have seen last season. You know, if it was 2020, then maybe I'd have 3 or 4 that are the caliber of those top 10 that we have this season. So it's been a good year. Yeah,
I mean, I'll come to our as ever dependable guest, maybe co-host in the future, Chinmay. I mean, would you agree? Would you sort of say that when you compare it to 2020, the fact that we can get 10 good races quite easily is just so much better than last year or the 2 years ago?
I'll probably say compared to the last 3-4 years, to be honest. This season is just we brought out so many bangers, so many biblical races, so many great moments that it's just been so difficult to narrow down what, especially for me, my top 4 or 5 races. Is it can be difficult, but any of those top 4, 5, 6 races could really be branded as the best race of the season because there was so much variety in the races we got. We had controversial races, we had races with great battles, races with a lot more destruction, wet races and dry races. I mean, we just had the whole. It's everything that we could have possibly had in a Formula 1 season, we had this season. So, yeah, it was just completely fantastic season. I'm still trying to recover from it, to be fair.
Yeah, and we've got one more guest. I mean, do you want to introduce yourself quickly? And then sort of how many sort of races did you have that could have been in the top 10?
Hi, I'm Kavin. I think there's about 11 races, so just one that I just missed out. But I think every race this season had a minimum of 6 out of 10, apart from, of course, Monaco and Spa. But I think this season has been my favourite season since 2012. It's been great competition for the podiums, the wins, and each weekend there's something interesting going on, just not just in the title race, but also down the field.
Yeah, and I mean, what we'll do is we'll go through it in sections. So we'll start with 10 to 8, take a break, then we'll look at 7 to 5, and finally we'll go over 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we'll start as we mean to go on, and we'll run through quickly what everyone's 10th best race to their 8th best race. I guess starting off with you, Jack.
You want all of them once?
Nah, just do.
Okay, just number 10.
Yeah, do 10 to 8 because
okay.
If we I feel like if we say it at once, then we're never gonna be able to agree on anything.
Okay, I guess so. All right, 10th position. I've put France. I think it was a decent race. There was a good challenger at the end, but it was a little bit more tactical. 9th place, I've put Monza. I think probably a lot of people thought that was a good race, but maybe that was just because the Danny Ricciardo win. There was a little bit in the middle where it was just a bit dull. There was that kind of 1, maybe 2 overtakes in the main first half of the race. And number 8, I put Russia. Again, kind of similar reasons. It had that big moment right at the end, but there was a big portion of the race in the middle where it was just a bit not quite as good as some of the other races we've had.
Okay, Chinmay?
I mean, for me, 10th will be I'll put Great Britain because, I mean, I think just the whole thing was just overshadowed by the whole collision that we had in the first bit. I mean, yes, we had the whole Hamilton chasing Leclerc, but I just feel that there are a few better races in the season. Number 9, Abu Dhabi, mainly because of all the drama, and I think it gives bonus points because of Checo being Mexico's Ministry of Defense again. And then number 8, I got Hungary because of the bowling incident, and then Ocon winning, Sebastian sort of getting a podium, but obviously getting disqualified, and there's Fernando Alonso becoming
Spain's Ministry of Defense. I mean, Kavin, what was yours?
At number 10, I've got Imola because it's not the easiest track to overtake at, so there weren't that many good wheel-to-wheel battles, and Verstappen sort of cruised to the win after Hamilton made that mistake. Number 9, I've got Silverstone. It was a great race, especially because I was at the track, So I saw that the reaction firsthand to the crash. And it wasn't all just Hamilton fans, you know, there was quite a bit of booing of Lewis as well. And yeah, it was just a tense race because Hamilton was fourth after his penalty. So he had to overtake 3 cars to win. So that's always an interesting chase. Number 8, maybe like controversially low, I've got Sao Paulo of Brazil. Yeah, it was just a great battle between Hamilton and Verstappen. I didn't feel like down the field there was that much happening compared to other races.
Okay. And I'll go through mine quickly. Number 10, like you, I've gone for Imola. I think sort of the same thing. Maybe it's because it was a bit earlier on in the season that I think that it could be a bit debatable. Number 9, I've gone for Azerbaijan. Apart from the ending, it didn't really have anything going on. It was just a bit dull. And then number 8, I've gone for Britain. So, what do we think? So obviously, I think Britain's been mentioned quite a lot. Me and you have mentioned Imola.
Yep.
I mean, were there any races that you two sort of had the same in? I mean, I went France for one of my honourable mentions. Was one of the 3 that didn't sneak in. So maybe France.
What have you guys? Where have you put France? Have you got it in there at all, or am I the lonesome one out?
I've got it in number 3. So
What?
way higher than everybody else. So yeah,
Okay.
That's controversial.
Yeah, first off, I'm bidding off the Sao Paulo discussion for later because I refuse to put that race 8th. So, yeah, I mean, Chinmay, where do you have France?
France will probably be like a 13th or a 14th for me. I just feel a bit further down than what other
Okay.
people might think.
I think there's something about France, just the fact that it's at a track that is so notoriously bad, and it was a really decent race. Any other season, I would have taken that as a top 5-6 race, just because there was that intrigue. I like a little bit of thinking about the strategy as well. There was that. It's the same as we had in Hungary 2019, I think, Spain 2020. Every year there seems to be that one where it's put those softs on, hunt down that title contender, and we had a little bit of, how much can Bottas hold Verstappen up as well. So I think it had a fair amount for me that I understand maybe some other people didn't see so much in.
Yeah, I mean, I missed that race for some reason. I cannot remember why. But, I mean, I've always been told it was good. I never really watched the highlights because I knew what happened halfway through. I think, are we all... So where have you put Imola, Chinmay and Jack, then?
3.
2.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's a big discussion.
Okay, we'll leave Imola for later then, because there's such a split. Britain, where have you put that?
Well, that's 7, so it's just hiding just out of sight.
7,
10.
10,
9.
9, 8.
Yeah.
We've got some form of agreement.
Okay, do you want... Maybe we go Britain 9th? Because I think that's sort of average. I don't think... None of us have really got... did you have it 10th?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe averaging out. If we go Britain 9th, and maybe France 10th?
Yeah.
What other races have you... Because I haven't put Abu Dhabi in there. I haven't
Neither.
put Abu Dhabi in
Just
my
outside.
top 10.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I've put Azerbaijan and Imola, but yeah, we mentioned that we...
Yeah, but I mean, where have you put Abu Dhabi? Is that
Abu
in there?
Dhabi, that's 6th.
Okay, what about you?
I put Abu Dhabi 9th.
Oh yeah, so I mean that's down there as well, right?
Six.
Yeah.
Where have you put it?
I haven't got it on there.
Oh.
Mine's not top 10, so...
Okay, that could be... Well, why don't we do that then? We'll go for France 10th.
But that leads me to think there are
I've
races
got France
on...
at number 3, so
Number
maybe
three.
it goes a bit higher than Abu Dhabi. I don't know.
It's a tricky one.
Difficult, isn't it?
I think we should... I know it's a bit more difficult with races because there's so much variation. I know when we did it with drivers, it was is this driver 20th or is that driver 20th? It felt like it was this one or that
It's
one.
this driver and this
Yeah.
driver is Mazepin.
But why don't we have a provisional one and then have a look through at the end?
Yeah. Okay,
and
so
leave it
I
like
think
that.
provisionally maybe Britain in 9th, then France in... Let's go France in 10th. And what we say... Do you want to put Abu Dhabi 7th then? If we all think Abu
Or
Dhabi...
8th, yeah.
Eighth. Oh,
yeah. I feel like we're gonna have more than 10 because we're not all choosing the exact same 10.
Yeah.
So
So we'll go for a provisional list. So we'll go for Britain... we go for France in 10th, Britain in 9th, and then Abu Dhabi in 8th. We all happy with that provisionally? And then
Yeah,
we can...
I'll do that.
We'll get a provisional list in, and then we'll start discussing where we want to finalise all of these races. But first, as I mentioned, we'll take a break now and have a bit of a song from our Women's Week playlist. This week with Charlie XCX and Good Ones. Welcome back to Raw 12:51 AM as we are running through what we think are the top 10 races of last season. We've sort of done 10 to 8. We've provisionally said France in 10th, Britain in 9th, and Abu Dhabi in 8th. And now we're going to run through 7 to 5. So as before, I'll go round the guests and we will discuss what we think are what each of us has at 7 to 5. I guess I'll start with you, Kavin.
Number 7, I've gone for Bahrain. 6, Italy, and number 5 is Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Bahrain was maybe a bit too low down because it was the first race of the season, so maybe I'm not remembering it too well. And but yeah, that's my.
Okay, Chinmay.
7th I put Saudi Arabia, chaotic. 6th I put Russia, Sochi, mainly because I just didn't expect it to be a good race because it's Sochi. And then 5 I put Bahrain because it could have a better opening.
Okay.
Thank you. 7, I've put Silverstone, as we've already put that on there. But 6th, I've put Saudi Arabia, and 5th, I put Bahrain again.
Okay, and I've gone for 7th, I put Saudi Arabia, 6th, Abu Dhabi, and then 5th, Italy. Right, I'm not having this Bahrain slander. Bahrain, we'll start off with this because this is something I feel sure. I put Bahrain 2nd. Bahrain was an amazing race.
It was a good race, but putting it 5th is not slander. It is a 5th out of 22 races in a great season. It was a very good race, but it was not those top 2. I'm sorry.
I almost put Bahrain number 1.
No.
This is ridiculous.
Come on, I need some support here, guys. Come on.
Bahrain, it was an amazing start to the season. Like, you've got the 2 title rivals going on. They're getting closer and closer. They overtake, but it's off the track. It's dramatic. It's exciting. Lewis Hamilton wins. Maybe that's biased, but...
Oh yeah, maybe it's biased against that.
But I just think Bahrain was it was one of the best races. I think it was one of the best season openers for a long, long time.
But there are 21 other races in the season as well, and I feel there are some other there are some races that are just as good or even better.
Fine,
it's recency bias because it didn't have the championship stakes at that point.
Yeah,
we knew they were going to be close throughout the season, but you couldn't predict how the championship was going to end that point.
It was better racing because they weren't crashing into each other every 5 minutes.
Also, like after the top 2, Bottas was like a comfortable 3rd, like the whole duration of the race. And Norris was like a comfortable 4th, so it was just mostly the top 2 going at it. Down the field, there wasn't that much chaos.
Fine. At least there's one race we can all agree on that we've all got in this block of 3. So Chinmay's got it 7th, Kareem's got it 5th, Jack's got it 6th, and I've got it 7th as well. Saudi Arabia. Like, this was a race I missed because I was at a Raw dinner thing, and then I go on, I watch it, and it's just pure chaos. There's about 3 red flag starts. Verstappen somehow comes out first in all of them after some wild overtaking. There were crashes between the top 2 at the back. It was a good race, but there was just a lot of it in the middle, I guess, that didn't really have anything happen. And I mean, Jack, was that sort of maybe probably taken away? Because obviously I watched the highlights of it and it only keeps the good bits. So was it taken away that there were about 20, 30 laps that nothing really happened in?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think also it was quite a divisive race. I think there's a comfortable level of controversy that you want in a really good race, right? And I think that went a little bit too far.
Is that comfortable level that you found in Bahrain?
No.
Yes.
No.
I will back Bahrain until I die.
You've derailed me now. You're going to have to ask someone else. I don't know what the point was.
Do you think that maybe if you were watching the highlights of Saudi Arabia, it would be one of those races that looks a lot better than maybe it actually was?
Yeah, because I think the whole race was, especially with the whole reaction in the public, the whole race was really built on the fact that it was chaotic, there was controversy, the whole thing with Max supposedly brake testing Hamilton and all that whole miscommunication stuff happening, and then everyone pushing each other wide in turn one. That turn one needs to be really fixed for next year's race. I really hope so. But I think it was overdone by the amount of chaos it is, and it wasn't much racing as there were crashes in that actual race, which I think just brought it down a bit.
I mean, would you agree?
Yeah, I agree a lot, because I think the thing that brought it down was actually like the poor officiating of the race. I was supporting Red Bull for the championship, but I still feel like Verstappen should have been black flagged for that race. Because like the driving standards were all over the place.
Black flagged isn't.
He had so many like dangerous incidents. Like, you know, if it's behind, he just like said, "I'm going to come out of the corner in front."
Did he prove they braked? I could never figure out
It wasn't
what
just
went.
that, but just also like
It
the
was
restarts,
such a weird stewarding race.
Yeah, they like negotiated as well. It was just weird, you know. So
It was just a little bit unsatisfying
Yeah.
at the end, wasn't it? I think that's what makes it less of a good race.
Like this title, very unsatisfying. Still not over Abu Dhabi. No, I'm a bit. I don't really care that much, but like, it's not great, and we'll have to wait and see what the inquiry says. So I think maybe Saudi Arabia 7th.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
100%.
Okay. I'll give you Bahrain 6th.
What about Italy?
I'm not happy about it.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
We both got Italy.
actually, we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned it, Imola. So we had it 10th. You had it second. And you had it third.
Yeah.
Right. Explain to us
Yeah.
why Imola was so much higher than we put it.
Oh, it's a lack of recency bias, obviously. I mean, nah.
That proves I'm not biased. It's because I've got Imola 10th and Bahrain second. There's
Well,
no
you could say the
recency
same
bias
about
here.
Bahrain, couldn't you? For me, so
yeah, true.
I think
Stop contradicting my points.
we had our first semblance of how aggressive drivers could get in the first corner of the race. We had lots of incidents down the field. So we had the Mazepin and Latifi crash. We had Russell and Bottas. It was like some people that we know are gonna reoccur throughout the season. It set the stage there, and then we had Hamilton making his first big mistake of probably 3, 4, 5 years, right, where he sends it into the wall. And maybe this season he's made a lot more than that. But that for me it sent. Okay, this is going to be a good championship battle. We came out of it 1 point separate, and it felt like maybe the Mercedes had the pace, but the Red Bull had challenged it on track, on overtaking, and it was a difficult track. It was a good track. There was that charge through the field. We had Norris on the podium again, which I love to see. Growing Norris fan as the time goes on. So yeah, it just had everything for me.
Okay, Chinmay.
Yeah, I think I'd just add to that. I mean, to be honest, I would say that was Norris's most deserved podium of the whole year as well. Because we knew that Austria and Monza, the McLaren was really fast on those tracks anyway. And then Monaco is not really a race that was much overtaking. It was just a parade more than anything else for 70 laps. Whereas like Imola, he actually fought Lewis Hamilton. Unfortunately, Lewis didn't manage to overtake Norris in the last few laps, so he didn't get second. He got third. But I think it just felt that the whole on-track action, there was rain in the beginning as well. The fact that there was clean racing between Max and Lewis, and obviously the big crashes with Latifi and Mazepin, and then Russell trying to take the Mercedes seat early. Then yeah, it was just a great race on a track that is notoriously difficult to overtake on.
Okay, and why do you think 10th then? What's the other side of the argument?
It's just Imola isn't like the most like overtaking style track, you know. After the first corner, there wasn't really any like wheel-to-wheel battles for first place between Hamilton and Verstappen. Verstappen sort of cruised to that victory, which I like, but I wouldn't say it's ahead of all the others because they've all had an overtake for first place going on. There were like dramatic moments, you know, with the Bottas Russell crash, but I feel like in terms of the standard of racing, it was just Hamilton going through like Ferraris and McLarens, which it wasn't the most hard.
Yeah,
I think for him.
So yeah, I think that's my thing. I think it's like Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of big moments, but they're sort of punctuated by boring bits.
Yeah.
And like I can accept that maybe I put Imola a bit low, maybe 10th. Like you do have the Hamilton charge through the field, the incidents between like Russell and Bottas and whatever. But I can't see it being second or third.
Yeah, come on, that's better.
This is outrageous.
There were lots of stuff going on through that race. There was, I think, Alonso ditched it on the opening lap, and then Vettel got penalties right at the start. It was a good mix-up. It was just a good mix-up. It's a really good challenge for the drivers as well, which is it's an old style circuit, which I liked, but it provided that action. So
Are we going back there next
I
year?
hope so. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah,
I think it's like the third race of the season or
Yes.
something like that.
I'll take it. It's a good track. I think maybe we go for 6th and 5th. I think Bahrain and Imola. Maybe not in that.
I'll take
in what order do we want
I think
Bahrain
Bahrain's
6th?
above Imola.
Yeah, I think
Bahrain's
so.
above. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll go Imola 6th, and then Bahrain in 5th place. And I mean that finishes off the first half. We'll take a break now. We'll put on some more Women's Week playlist, and then after the break we will come back and discuss number 4, number 3, number 2, and the best race of the season, at least in our view. But first we have Beyonce with Single Ladies. With Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Welcome back to the Warwick F1 Show as we get into the business end of our top 10 races of last season. And well, during the break, we've sort of discovered we're trying to fit 5 into 4 now. We've got 5 races left that we sort of think are all up there. And that's why we've done our provisional list, because we hadn't really realised this. So, as ever, I'll come round each in turn, starting off with you, Jack. What are your top 4?
So I've put number 4, Baku. Great race, great moments. A little bit delayed in the middle. Number 3, I've put Hungary. Great race, great moments all the way through. A little bit of chaos, but maybe not that championship battle that we...
Little bit of chaos.
A little bit of chaos, yeah. Number 2, I've put Imola. We don't need to... We've talked about that enough already. And number 1, Brazil. I think the whole weekend was just like perfect start to finish, but the race was constantly interesting. There was still that championship battle. It was uncertain who'd win. A little bit of controversy. It was just, the best race of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it later. Chinmay, what have you got as your top 4?
I want to go Brazil 4th because I just feel like the whole race was overshadowed by the sprint race. If you're rating race weekends, Brazil is definitely by a country mile the top weekend of the whole season. But I just felt because of that, the whole sprint race and stuff, I just kind of, for me, just made the whole result inevitable for Lewis Hamilton just dominating that Brazil race. And other than that whole controversy with Max refusing to turn the wheel with Lewis and the stewarding and stuff like that. 3 up at Imola for reasons we've already discussed. Monza up in number 2, that's just a bit of a Danny Rick bias. And also McLaren 1-2, I just loved seeing that McLaren 1-2, and the fact that Ferrari didn't double DNF like in 2020. And then number 1 was Baku. I think I don't know. I just have some personal bias towards Baku with both title contenders going out for one reason. Lewis just overcooking his brakes.
Remind me.
And then obviously Checo. And then for me, I just love the podium as well with Checo, Sebastian Vettel, and Pierre Gasly on the podium as well.
Kavin, your top 4?
Yeah, I've got Baku at 4 as well. I'm a big Checo fan, so that maybe biased it a bit. I think before the end of the race, there wasn't that much happening. But, the last few laps were absolutely incredible. I mean, that moment with Hamilton forgetting to brake, that was life-peaking, to be honest with you. I've got France at 3, which is a bit controversial, but, it's the sort of race I really like with a great, strategic variety. And, Verstappen had that one coming because in Spain earlier that year, Hamilton used the same tactic of pitting, later and catching up. And same with Hungary in 2019. So, yeah, that one was a personal favourite of mine. Russia is a number 2. And Hungary number 1. Simply, Latifi was 3rd. I mean, that just shows how chaotic and good that race was.
Okay, and I've gone for Hungary in 4th, just pure chaos. Then I've gone Russia in 3rd, Bahrain in 2nd, and Brazil at number 1. I noticed that we've all sort of got that one race that we've already discussed. We've got Imola for Jack. Chinmay also has Imola, and I guess Italy a bit, and then Kavin's got France. You've
got Bahrain,
and then we've got Bahrain. Bahrain should be up there.
Still salty about that.
It just shows how good the season was. But so there's one that, as I mentioned before at the start, we're sort of trying to fit 5 into 4, and I'm noticing the one that sort of holds that 5th out of the 5 is Italy. I put Italy fifth, I think. Yeah, I put Italy fifth. Chinmay was the only one who had it in his top four at second. I mean, Jack and Kavin, where do you put it?
I put it ninth, so...
Sixth for me.
Ninth and sixth. So I think what we're probably going to end up doing, and we may as well do it now, is shifting everything upwards. I think moving France out of the top 10, Britain going to 10th, and everything shifting upwards, and then putting Italy in fifth. I think that's fair enough, because you can't really leave out Italy with the drama that happened, but they're just sort of that race that doesn't really fit anywhere into it. So we'll move the list up a bit, and we'll just put Italy there, and then we're left with four. We're left with Russia, Brazil, Hungary, and Baku as the top four. And I want to say Baku in fourth. So Chinmay's got it first, Jack's got it fourth, Kavin's also got it fourth. I put it ninth.
Yeah, fourth seems.
And I would like to explain why I put it ninth. It's because it wasn't a very good race. Again, maybe I'm being biased, but up until the finish, up until Verstappen's crash, nothing had happened.
I mean, you've forgotten Stroll's crash and the whole restart. You've forgotten an entire red flag.
I remember. But
that was like lap 30. That was halfway in.
wait, no, there wasn't a restart after Stroll's crash, was there?
Yeah, it was red flag.
There was. I think there was, or at least there was like a safety car. And I still remember, was it on the back straight? You had the two Red Bulls literally in sync, weaving the tires.
Oh no, yeah, it was a safety.
That's it. Well, you're cancelled. You're no longer the host.
It was a safety. I was right. It was a safety car.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, whichever.
You're cancelled.
Still a restart.
Yeah. Okay. Now I do remember that.
Because we had. Was it? Oh yeah, because the pit lane was blocked off, and
so no one pitted.
Or no, was it the other way around? No, that was Verstappen. I'm thinking Verstappen. Someone got what was the ridiculous call? Stay out, stay out, stay out. Oh no, I meant to come in and don't pit.
Oh, it was Latifi.
I can't remember who it was.
They sent Latifi on the pit straight because were trying to send them all through the pit lane.
I can't remember.
Okay,
what it was.
maybe Baku needs a bit more credit.
But
we
had the. I mean, the Hasses provided some interest in there. It was hilarious watching Mazepin go off a couple times, but there were mix-ups throughout the field. I do think it was a better race than you're giving it credit for.
Yeah, maybe.
Can I make my own proposition for fourth?
Okay.
Russia, for exactly the same reasons. Because, I mean, one we ended up with Hanver Bot, I think. I mean, it doesn't make a race bad, but the intrigue that we had with Verstappen starting at the back with Norris. Hamilton took a 5th place, did he, or not? Or did he just qualify really badly?
No, he qualified 4th. And then
he dropped 6th.
I don't think he had a bad start,
didn't he?
But he just got blocked off.
Take an extra, no, that was
crashed in the pit lane.
Yeah.
That one.
He crashed in the pit lane before, and then I think qualified 4th. He was a bit. Oh, he just didn't get his tyres warmed up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then the top 3 was no one say Norris, Sainz, George Russell.
Yeah, Russell.
Once again, Russell. How?
Yeah. Anyway, the point being, I think that one also had that midsection where it was just not that interesting. If that rain didn't come, it would have been a nothing race. Compared to the 10 that we have
I'm
there.
sorry.
I think the result doesn't make good racing.
Hamilton is closing up on Lando Norris.
Even without the rain.
Into like what could be a Grand Slam finish, like the young British pretender with 0 wins versus the old guard on 99. Verstappen, it's a mixed up grid. Bottas and Verstappen are coming through the field to try and overtake. There's overtaking throughout. Hamilton dropping to 7th. Will he make up the positions? He's getting closer. And then it's topped off by the rain coming.
Yeah. Sainz was also leading the race at the start, so Norris had to pass him as well. And there was many drivers that could have won the race. Perez was also just behind Hamilton before his pit stop. He was going longer on the tyres. Verstappen and Leclerc were both coming through from the back, as was Bottas. Bottas didn't make it that far up, but then he got really lucky with their pit stops. Went from 14th to 5th or something.
I mean, Chinmay, what do you think?
I mean, I'll kind of give it a 3rd or a 4th as well. I mean, yes, there's all the stuff in the middle, but I just feel that other races kind of just topped it off a bit more. And then it was kind of like the more extremities. There's like the first 5 laps, and then the last 5 laps, and there's not. I just feel like the stuff doesn't contain to other races that could potentially rank high, in my opinion.
Okay, so I think we all agree Russia and Baku third and fourth in an order.
Yep.
So let's make this democratic. I'm going Baku fourth, Russia third. Kavin, what are you going for?
Baku fourth, Russia third.
Yep.
I'm going Russia fourth, Baku third.
Yeah, I'm noticing a problem with four people.
I do agree with Chinmay, but I will concede that they were very close races for the same reason. So if you both feel like that, I will allow Russia to take third place.
I think if Russia wasn't at Russia, I think it would be given a lot more credit.
Maybe.
I think it was a good race by anyone's standards, let alone Russian standards, which was like, put it.
Of all tracks, it was at Sochi, probably the most disliked track out of all the tracks on the calendar.
I think probably the main reason I can give for not thinking it's quite as high is because I expected there to be a good race, because it was the weird starting weird qualifying positions with Verstappen at the back, Hamilton having to fight through, the Williams at the front. So it didn't disappoint. It definitely didn't disappoint.
And it finally happened that we got rain before the end of the race, as opposed to about 10 minutes afterwards. And I think we all agree, or we don't all agree, but I think what we're going to go for is Baku fourth, Russia third, leaving us with two races, Hungary and Brazil. So Jack has put Hungary, we'll start with Hungary. Jack's put Hungary third. Chimay hasn't got it. You put it fifth?
It was down at 8th for me.
Oh my gosh. Explain why.
I just feel like that, there's obviously all the stuff in the beginning and stuff, and the Alonso defending. I just feel like there was, I know, personally speaking, probably expecting too much, but I just kind of expect a little bit more from the whole restart thing. I kind of expected a bit more, especially between Vettel and Ocon, because they were so close to each other the whole race, but then it just didn't really happen. And plus, I did miss the second half of the Hungary race as well, so I didn't really see it live.
So you missed all of the Alonso bit?
Yeah, so I missed the whole
biased,
Alonso bit.
ignore him. And then, Kavin, you put it first.
Yeah, there were so many memorable moments. Hamilton on the grid by himself. I mean, that's going to be a picture that's going down in F1 history. And the Ocon and Vettel battle, it was just really tense, the whole race. You were seeing Hamilton go up through the field like one by one, and without Alonso being there, he would have overtaken both Vettel and Ocon from the win from the back. So, it was just like every lap I was excited for what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I've put it fourth. I mean, I think there's just so many memorable moments. Like, you've got that Hamilton starting first on his own. He's the only one on the grid. You've got about 17, how many cars got through the first corner unscathed?
I don't think two of them made it to the grid, so...
So what?
I think there was it 7 people totally involved in the first corner?
Norris, Perez, Verstappen, Bottas, Gasly got caught up but didn't collide.
Ricciardo,
Stroll,
and Leclerc. So that's 8.
And Mazepin got taken out of the pit lane.
Yeah, Mazepin out in the pits. So we ended up with 11.
Yeah, taken out by Raikkonen. So
And then the top 3 ended up being, I think, Hamilton in first. Ocon started 11th.
And he went up to second.
Yeah, Latifi went from about 13th to third. I'm pretty sure Sainz was about 15th and ended up in 4th.
Vettel.
There was Tsunoda as well, and Vettel, and crazy. And then our other one, Brazil. So Jack and me have put Brazil first. Chinmay has got Brazil fourth, and then Kavin has got Brazil. Where do you put it?
8.
I'm not. This is the one I'm feeling most aggrieved by.
My reasoning is because Hamilton, after only 15 laps, he was already up to third. So
that's incredible.
It was expected. He had the pace. He was going to win the race either way. Other than that, not that much happened during the race. It was just the Hamilton charge. I don't know.
I mean, Chinmay earlier said as soon as he saw the sprint, he thought it was inevitable. But I think I was so wrong. He was still down in 15th. His start was 15 laps. That was 15 laps, packed full of action, turn 1 dive bombs, racing everywhere. But again, I think because of the way Verstappen was there, the way the championship was at the time, I don't think it was inevitable at all. I think I was on the edge of my seat for the last 20 laps. I don't think my heart's ever gone harder. So
was Brazil
that's why it's number 1
Mexico?
for me.
No, it was after.
Yeah.
So if Verstappen had won, would he have been guaranteed if it had just been 1-2s for the rest of the season?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my god, see, that's tense.
Yeah.
And like 25. What? I think he overtook 20. Must have overtaken done 24 overtakes, going from I guess 20th to 10th. No, 20th to 5th to 10th to 1st.
20th to 15th and then back.
Yeah, but that was the sprint race, which was.
Now that counts. It's a race. So okay, we've got to finish. I mean, just get it sorted so we can do our predictions game that we've always been doing. So I'm gonna do democracy as usual and Hungary, or I'll just say which one in number one for each of you. Starting off with Kavin.
Hungary number one.
Hungary number one.
I'll go Brazil.
Brazil.
I'm going Brazil. I can't. I put Brazil first. I'm just like leaving it. So I think we've got a preliminary. That's a tough one. Preliminary list, and then
It's an initial list.
Okay, so we've moved everything up. So let me just get rid of France so it doesn't confuse me. So in 10th, Britain. 9th, Abu Dhabi. 8th, Saudi Arabia. 6th, Imola. 5th, Bahrain. Oh, is that right? No. 7th. Oh, these numbers have confused me. 10, Britain. 9, Abu Dhabi. 8, Saudi Arabia. 7, Imola. 6, Bahrain. 5th, Italy. 4th, Baku. 3rd, Russia. 2nd, Hungary. And the best race of the season is Brazil. We're not all happy with it, but is that not the point of democracy? We're never happy.
To make everyone equally unhappy.
Everyone is now equally unhappy, but I think that's a good compromise. I don't think there's nothing in that list that I'm especially unhappy with. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's very subjective, right? I know what I like in a race is not necessarily what other people like. So yeah, there are things that I would change, and I'm not wrong for saying that. But I think that's a fair subjective list, if you like.
Yeah, Bahrain would be higher. Not leaving Bahrain. Yeah, but I think that's a good top 10 list. I think it shows that the fact we've managed to draw almost an hour out of this discussion for 10 races, let alone like 5, shows how good of a season last season was. Like, if we'd done this in 2020, I know there were only 17 races, so maybe bring it down to like 8. I still think it's difficult to pick 8 good races. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not as good as we've seen, right?
Yeah.
I don't think good. I think
So
you can have a good race without having a championship battle, but we had so many where there was a pivotal moment or a big thing happened, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that the best 2 races of 2020 were better than what we saw this season.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that was
quickly. We'll just.
Okay.
That was the best race I've seen.
Oh, that's a controversial one.
That is my favourite race ever, and I still disagree with you.
Okay. Everyone's favorite. So pick your favorite race of 2020, and we'll just do this quickly. Just to finish off.
I'm thinking of the wrong race.
Pick your favorite race of 2020. Where would you rank it on this list? So I mean, Chinmay, what's your favorite race of 2020, and then like where would it go on this list? Do you think?
Oh, it'll be between the Bahrain race where Checo won or Monza because of who won it and just the whole drama. But I think I will choose the one where Checo won. Yeah, just because of all the drama. I mean, of course, there was that massive heartbreak that I don't want to really mention. And but yeah, if I had to rank that race, I'll probably put it above around Sochi or Baku.
I mean, Jack, would you?
Yeah, again, same race. I've only got my list in front of me, but I'd put it probably 5th, so just above Bahrain.
Yeah, no, I think I'd probably go for Sakir, and then I'd put it mid-table. It just shows how this season was a very, very good season.
Well,
and
So Checo did the exact same thing that Hamilton did in Brazil, though, and he did it in a Racing Point. Came from last to first in one race.
there was that.
Only guy in history to do that.
There wasn't the championship battle. That's what changes it for me.
And there may be a bit of an element of luck with the whole Mercedes thing.
Yeah, but that was also fun in itself.
It was just so how dominant Mercedes were last season that every race that they didn't do well in was sort of a luck-based thing.
Yeah.
So we've got our list of 10. We'll play a quick ad quickly, and then we'll come back and do our predictions game. and we are back for the final segment, doing our predictions game. Obviously, Kavin, new on the show, so he will get first pick at the predictions, and then I will do mine, as we've only got one guest on, and we'll go through each of us out of Chinmay, Jack, and myself over the next few weeks, because we've really only got. Well, they've started announcing cars. February the 10th is the earliest one we've got so far.
Yeah, is that McLaren? Or is that February the 11th? I think Ferrari and McLaren are 2 days apart. I can't remember which one.
And then
it is.
Mercedes on the 18th so far. But oh god, we've only got a month. That's terrifying. We're just like so we had no break, and we still don't know what they're going to do about Abu Dhabi. So I'll come to you, Kavin, and we will quick fire this because we've only got 5 minutes. So, World Drivers' Champion.
Hamilton.
World Constructors' Champion.
Mercedes.
Okay. Most Driver of the Days.
I'm going to go for Perez, just because he's the driver of the day guy.
Okay. And then we'll run through the quali battles. So, who wins out of Mercedes?
Hamilton.
Red Bull.
Yeah, Verstappen.
Ferrari.
Leclerc.
McLaren.
Norris.
Alpine.
Alonso.
AlphaTauri.
Gasly, but it's going to be quite close.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so notice he's kind of a big glow up.
Aston Martin.
Vettel.
Williams.
Albon.
Alfa Romeo.
Bottas.
And Haas.
Mick Schumacher.
No. What do you mean? We're going to get one person predict Mazepin.
We're not.
We are.
We're not going to get anyone who's crazy enough for that.
If I predict Mazepin and Mazepin wins, then...
Do it.
I might. And then we also are doing this. This is a very good idea from you. I'll give you credit for this.
Ooh, thank
one
you.
race, one team, not the top four.
Yeah.
And you score the points that they get. So what race, what team?
Aston Martin, Baku. They've always been good around that track. You know, Perez got like 3 podiums in that car.
But like Stroll was running quite well until he...
And Vettel finished second as
reasonable.
well.
Yeah. That's reasonable.
That is actually quite a good one, actually. Right, so I'll do mine now. So, Drivers' Champion, I'm having Hamilton. Please. Constructors, I think Mercedes. Driver of the Day, I'm going to go George Russell. And then quali battles, Merc, Hamilton, but it's close, especially at the end of the season. Red Bull, Verstappen. Ferrari, I'm going to go Sainz. McLaren, Norris. Alpine, Alonso. AlphaTauri, Gasly. Aston Martin, Stroll. Williams, Albon. Alfa Romeo, Bottas. And I'm doing it, Mazepin.
Oh, you've thrown away however many points we're giving away for that. 5 points, I don't know. I'll work out a point system.
Oh, we could give like points per the gaps. If it's like 15.
Oh, that sounds complicated.
7 points.
Oh, blimey.
And then one race, one team, not the top 4. Ooh. I'm going to go... Oh, it's so difficult because you've no clue who's going to be up there. Who's putting lots of money? I'm going to go Alpine at Suzuka.
Oh,
Can
wow.
I have a read? Oh, they'll go to Suzuka this year, surely. Please. I get a redo if they don't. If it's cancelled, I'm redoing that prediction. Or do I risk it? Ooh.
Yeah, it's part of
Actually,
I feel like if you have to redo it, then some of the races have already gone, haven't
I'm
they?
changing my Alpine at Silverstone.
Okay.
The French are going to rock up to Britain and destroy us at our home track. Ocon first, Alonso second, and it's going to go really badly for Britain.
What a note to end. Come on.
No,
Blimey.
I'm reverse jinxing it. So when the Hamilton Russell 1-2 in front of the British crowd.
I mean, the last 2 predictions you made were the most awful way to end a podcast I have ever heard.
Oh, Mazepin, you can do it. I'd like to be clear that I don't actually think Mazepin can do it. It's just funny. And if he does, I'll look really clever. But that's the only reason that I've done it. So
Famous last words.
yeah, it's just like Mazepin 21-0 or something.
Yeah.
If it happens, we'll look back on this moment.
Genius.
Jess just shaking his head. He's in
I'm
disbelief.
Wait, honestly,
See you
I think
next week.
Mazepin will be quite close with Nick next season.
Mazepin World Drivers Champion, anyone?
Points for Mazepin. We'll give him points. We'll say.
Mazepin, that's not a bad prediction.
Yeah.
I think Mazepin could score points. So that has been the end of the show. We've ranked the top 10 races. We've said Mazepin will out qualify. Well, maybe I've said that, but Dad's just wandering around in disbelief. Mazepin will out qualify Schumacher in the Haas. Any last words from anyone?
Bye.
Well, you can't just leave. He's left. He's gone. So that has been the Warwick F1 Show. I've been your host, Will Kingswood.